Hey guys, my name's Anita T and I solve my histamine intolerance. And today I'm going to tell you guys about a webinar I created that details exactly how I did that and exactly how you guys can too. Just for those of you that don't know me, my name's Anita T and I'm a histamine intolerance researcher and published nutritional scientist. I also have a whole bunch of other cool qualifications like a Master of Science in Personalized Nutrition and a Bachelor of Science in Biology, but you guys can go through that long list if you guys feel like it. Let's get started. So what you guys want to hear about is my histamine intolerance. And the mini version of my story is that I spent years suffering with histamine intolerance symptoms, including skin rashes, hives, digestive distress, and numerous food sensitivities. And despite seeing numerous doctors and alternative practitioners, I got little help or even acknowledgement as to what was going on. So, like I'm sure you guys feel, I was pretty confused, frustrated, and hopeless. And in under 3 years, I spent over $80,000 on consultations, lab testing, medications, supplements, and miracle cures with little to no result. This may seem like a lot of money, but when you divide it up, it's actually just over $2,000 a month, and that adds up quickly. So what changed? Well, I decided to start using my Master of Science degree to begin conducting my own research, which is how I found the perfect approach. I ended up applying a 5-stage approach to my histamine intolerance using specific therapies at each stage to obtain the best results. And I did this all using 100% scientifically backed research. By following my own protocol, I was totally healed. You guys may be wondering how my approach was different and why I was able to fix myself. Well, the thing is, when I was seeing all these practitioners, even when taking personalization of my case into account, these practitioners just simply don't have time to devote their whole day every day to research because they're seeing clients. So they are forced to use some sort of cookie cutter protocol for each disorder. So everyone that comes in with histamine intolerance sort of gets the same range of therapies from each practitioner. This is a super efficient approach to see and help as many people as possible, except it's not so efficient when it doesn't work for you. So as a researcher devoted to histamine intolerance, I actually spend all day, every day, looking at the newest and most comprehensive research. So I know the best and most effective therapies with a better knowledge than somebody who, say, deals with histamine intolerance just as a subsection of their practice or only on occasion. So even if some therapies haven't worked for you with your current practitioners, there's a lot of research on therapies that may work much better for you. And that's why I created this webinar, to bring everything together. So what you can expect in this webinar is to listen to my journey from histamine intolerant to healed, to discover the 5 stages of healing histamine intolerance, and at each stage you can find actionable advice on common causes, testing options, dietary and lifestyle interventions, unique and novel therapies, and supplement guides. And you'll also get to learn why your current therapies may not be working for you, which is huge, and be given all of the helpful resources to support your intolerance, such as a Q&A session with real questions from histamine intolerance sufferers just like yourself. Guys, there's also much, much more in this webinar to expect, but that's just a quick overview. Just to give you guys a little bit of feedback that I got, Tia says this is the best webinar I've watched in the year I've been trying to heal. And Michelle says, hey Anita, I wanted to say a massive thank you for that mega webinar. It was really packed with useful information and very practical too. So as you guys can see, even people who are currently trying to heal, seeing practitioners, they're all finding great use out of this and finding it so practical to apply to themselves. What is the value of this webinar? I'm sure you guys are wondering. Well, the information in this webinar is actually equivalent to about 12 monthly practitioner visits with a histamine intolerance specialist just like myself. At an average of about $200 per specialist visit, the total value of this webinar works out to over $2,400 worth of information. But having personally experienced how quickly healthcare costs can add up, like we discussed earlier, and this all happened while I was an in-debt student, these costs were pretty unacceptable to me because I know that they prevent people from getting the help that they so desperately need and deserve. So I decided to go a different route and show this webinar to over 400 histamine intolerance sufferers. And after seeing the webinar in full with all of the material, I asked them what they thought it was worth. and the overwhelming majority suggested that it should retail for over $250. Although this price is a lot better and it's really similar to just the cost of a single practitioner visit, to me it still wasn't quite good enough because I knew that people would have to think twice about that amount of money, and I wanted to ensure that this information was available at a reasonable cost so that it was accessible to absolutely everyone who needed it without having to think twice about getting it. So guys, instead of selling this for the recommended $250 plus by other histamine intolerance sufferers, today I'm actually going to give you guys this webinar for just $49. So you'll have all the information to begin solving your histamine intolerance today, direct from a published nutritional scientist and histamine intolerance specialist. As a bonus, I'm also going to give you guys an FAQ email with the answers to the most frequently asked questions from over 400 histamine intolerance sufferers who watch the webinar themselves. That means that you guys will get answers to any lingering questions in your head to ensure that there's absolutely no confusion. Additionally, I want to give you guys 15 minutes of free email support, just for those of you who say like to have a practitioner by your side or have any lingering questions. I want to support you through your journey. So I'm going to give you guys 15 minutes of free email support valued at $50 so that you guys can get the answers to all your biggest questions about histamine intolerance directly from myself, Anita T. So guys, now that you've seen everything that's included, plus all of the bonuses, I'm also going to show you guys how confident I am in this webinar from all of the feedback I've gotten and from practice. So I'm going to actually offer you guys a full money back guarantee. So if you try the therapies in this webinar for 60 days and still do not see an improvement in your histamine intolerance symptoms, I will refund your money in absolute full hassle-free. So guys, just in case there's any leftover hesitation, I can guarantee that these are going to be effective for you, and if not, then there's absolutely no risk involved. Just to give you guys a little bit more feedback from histamine intolerance sufferers, Janine says, thanks for sharing your knowledge. I've enjoyed listening to the webinar enough to explore the root cause instead of spending thousands of dollars on testing without answering a single question. So that's awesome. Janine feels like she's saving thousands of dollars just from this webinar and really getting useful info out of it. Lauren says, you've been so helpful. Thank you. I need to find the source of my gut issues, and I feel I can do that now with your information. So that's awesome, Lauren. So guys, just to recap, in this presentation that you guys are going to get today, you're going to get a 2-hour webinar detailing exactly how I solved my histamine intolerance, which includes the 5-stage approach on how to do it with all the common causes, testing options, dietary and lifestyle interventions, supplement guides, and histamine intolerance resources, as well as so much more stuff. You're also going to get all of the frequently asked questions and answers to them from real histamine intolerance sufferers like yourselves, and 15 minutes of free email support. In total, this package is worth $2,450 worth of information. And today you guys are going to get it for just $49. Additionally, guys, don't forget about that money back guarantee that I mentioned earlier. So if you guys try the therapies in this webinar for 60 days, and if after 60 days you're not seeing an improvement in your symptoms, then I'm going to refund your money in absolute full, and you're going to get to keep the webinar. So it's a totally risk-free trial, and it's going to ensure that you guys are getting everything that you should be out of this webinar. I just want to let you guys know that it's an absolute mistake to continue paying 3 or 4 or 5 times the amount of this webinar just for a single practitioner visit with someone who's not even specialized in histamine intolerance, when I'm giving you all of the information today and much more at an absolute fraction of that cost. Guys, this information has been so helpful to people, and it's time for you guys to start really pursuing the correct knowledge so that you can start living your life properly again. Stop saying no to social events. Stop being fearful of restaurant dinners like I was for so long. I got to the point where I was avoiding friends and families and social situation, and I'm sure many of you guys are at that point too, and it's time for that to be done. It's time for you guys to start living a normal life again, and I have the information to really help get you there. Again, guys, as a histamine intolerance specialist, a published scientist, and someone who personally went through histamine intolerance myself, if you guys have a current practitioner with all of those qualifications, by all means, pursue that person and continue listening to that person. But if you guys are going to someone and paying so many times this amount of money just to get a fraction of the information that's not even progressing you that far, then you guys need to rethink what you're doing and start getting the right information from the right people to start living a normal life again. It's time to take happiness back. It's time to take your life back. And it's time to start being taken seriously for your disorder and being able to enjoy the social events, the family events, and normal life activities without constantly having to worry about symptoms. And that is what I'm going to help you guys do with this webinar. So guys, take advantage of this opportunity today. If you have any questions after, you always have that email support so that I can help support your journey along the way. I've helped over 400 histamine intolerance sufferers so far, just like myself, and I'm looking forward to supporting you guys and getting healthy together. Thanks for listening, and I will speak with you guys personally very soon.